Bronie here for another day in Bronie's world. And at Bronie's desk today, I have two amazing guests. Our beautiful pharmacist Ben is with us again today, as he is every fortnight. And he often talks about Rolfing in a lot of his talks with us. And so we have another friend of mine, well, her mum's my friend, but Kristy I class as my friend as well, who is I call the Queen of Rolfing. He's a Rolfer, so I have invited them both on. But before we get to the Rolfing session, I have asked my gorgeous friend Ben Fuchs to talk a little bit about scoliosis, because I have a few clients that have scoliosis, and I think that might go a little bit hand in hand with Rolfing. But anyway, so let's make the connection.
A little bit. Scoliosis is basically a curvature of the spine. And it's not abnormal. Most people have not most people, a lot of people have a slight curvature in the spine, but scoliosis, which happens in kids and children and teens, is like this abnormal S-shaped or sometimes a C-shaped curve in the spine. And the way you deal with it is by looking for other symptoms. This is so important. We have this idea that I call it this for that. You got this problem, I take that supplement. Or you have that problem, I take this supplement. This for that. That's not how scoliosis and a lot of health challenges work. Scoliosis is a symptom. Like osteoporosis, by the way. These are symptoms of metabolic disorders. Nobody just has scoliosis. There's no scoliosis angel that sprinkles scoliosis dust on your head and all of a sudden you have scoliosis. It's a sign of a metabolic disturbance. And because it happens in kids and teens, usually that means there's a digestive issue that's going on. That's pretty much the only thing that can happen with a little kid, is eating the wrong foods or not processing those foods correctly, or a combination thereof. So you want to look for other symptoms. In order for the spine to curve as it's growing, there has to be some kind of inflammation going on, in the local inflammation, and that means that there's a metabolic disturbance, most likely coming in from the digestive system. So you ask, what's going on? What other symptoms do you have? Are you bloating after meals, gas, constipation, loose stools, heartburn, all those kinds of things? And then you address the toxicity issue. Along with it, there are supplements that can build strong bones, but it's typically not a strength issue as much as it's an inflammatory issue. And that implies something getting into the bloodstream. Of course, that means if they're not injecting through the skin, that means food. So who is it that was dealing with the scoliosis?
They're not on the call today, but
they're not on the call. Is it a child or is it an adult?
No, it's an adult. She's only just let me know she has scoliosis.
She what?
And she's only just let me know she has scoliosis. And
did she have a story when she was a kid, or you don't know?
She never said. She just happened to mention it off the cuff. And she's older than I am, so okay, she's older than you and I, Ben.
What other health challenges? What other health things going on? Or do you know?
Good question.
That's what you want to look for. It's like, I know I've said this before, but
I think she has a diabetic issue as well.
Well, there you go. So let's, I've said this before, but this is very instructive. You know Bob Ross, the painter, is, right?
Yes. Oh,
right?
I've heard of him.
So Bob, you've heard of him, right? So he used to show you how easy it was to paint. Bob Ross would have a big white canvas. You put a little line in the middle of the canvas and you go, okay, what the heck is that? A little line. And then you put a second line. And you go, oh, wow, that's starting to look like something. You put a third line, boom, a tree. And then a fourth line, boom, a river. And then a fifth line, boom, a mountain. And he would put little lines and pictures would start to emerge. That's how you do health. You look for lines so a picture can emerge. If you just have one symptom, you don't have a picture. That's like a line in the middle of your canvas. That doesn't tell you anything. You've got to triangulate at least, have 3 symptoms, and then you could put a picture together. So this gal right now, scoliosis, that we knew, but then you said she has some blood sugar issues, right? Yes. That's the second point. That's very important. A blood sugar issue is a metabolic issue. We all know about metabolic syndrome, and part of metabolic syndrome is a weakening of the bones, which can lead to scoliosis. So I'd want a third symptom to be sure, but right now you can see how scoliosis doesn't help. But scoliosis and dysglycemia, now you're starting to get a picture. Now you have a place to work. Third point, more than likely it's going to be something in the digestive system. Now you can really do something. Just scoliosis doesn't tell you anything. Any more than a dot in the middle of a white canvas tells you what's going on. You follow what I'm saying? You need to have multiple dots so a picture can begin to emerge. That's called triangulation. So with two dots, it's okay. Now we have a place to work. We'll work on our metabolic syndrome, and you'll do other things. Now, if she goes to the doctor, they're going to try and work with the scoliosis. I don't know what they'll do for scoliosis. Usually, probably Boniva or a bisphosphonate drug to strengthen the bones, but they're not going to really take care of the metabolic issue, nor should they. That's not their job. Taking care of the whole body is our job. It's not the doctor's job, or it's an integrated holistic practitioner's job, but it's not a medical doctor's job. If you go to a medical doctor, you're going to get treated like a medical doctor. You'll get a drug that'll supposedly target one part of the body. I talked to a gal today. She was in her 70s, and she had a condition called Addison's disease. Addison's disease is an autoimmune disease of the adrenal glands, right? Now, we've talked about autoimmune disease at length here, so you all know what I'm going to say about autoimmune disease, but this gal was diagnosed with Addison's disease in 1974, and since then, 50 years ago, she's been on hydrocortisone drug, steroids, hydrocortisone, which is a steroid drug for her Addison's disease. All of a sudden, she has osteoporosis. Well, one of the well-known causes of steroids is deterioration of connective tissue, like including osteoporosis. So she wanted to know what I could do for osteoporosis. I had to interview her and ask her questions to elicit the fact that she had an autoimmune disease and she had leaky gut and she had SIBO, and now we can start to work. But just to get a letter from somebody who says, I have osteoporosis, what do I do? That doesn't help you. Likewise with the scoliosis. I know I'm beating a dead horse here, but I hope I'm making my point. You need multiple points of bodily breakdown to figure out, to elicit a picture, to see what's going on in the body, like with a painting where you have multiple dots and you see a picture.
Wow. Okay? Very good, very good.
Okay.
So Ben, like I said, you're always talking to us about Rolfing.
Yes, Rolfing is an incredible body work. Kristy probably knows more about than I do. She's a Rolfer. I just talk about it, although I've also been a patient and I love it. The connective tissue, which we talk about all the time, is the central part of the body. There's four main tissues. You got the connective tissue and the muscle tissue, which together make steak, if you will. The connective tissue is the white part of a steak, and the muscle tissue is the pink part of a steak. The connective tissue pulls everything together. Along with the muscle tissue and the connective tissue, it's the bulk of our bodies. Here in the United States, we have something called the bodies exhibit. You probably have seen it in Australia, where they show you bodies without the skin. Yeah. And you know what I'm talking about? You've seen this? The bodies without the skin. They call it the bodies exhibit. And you get to see what I call the flesh robot. The flesh robot is what we all look like underneath our skin. If you peel the skin off, you can't tell if somebody's Australian or black or white or Japanese or whatever, old or young. You just see the central part of the body, which is pretty generic. That central part of the body is the connective tissue and the muscle tissue, and it's the bulk of the body. Now, the whole thing is coated with a type of tissue called epithelial tissue, and then it's electrified with nervous tissue. But probably 80 to 90% of the body is this flesh robot, the connective tissue and the muscle tissue. The single most distressing aspect of the aging process is deterioration of the connective tissue. When the connective tissue deteriorates, we get old. Or, if you prefer, old age is marked by, all the symptoms of old age are marked by deterioration of the connective tissue. Wrinkles and heart disease and prolapses and hernias and ruptures and the hunched over appearance that older people have, and arthritis and osteoporosis. These are all manifestations of connective tissue deterioration, which tells you that building the connective tissue is the very heart of anti-aging. The essence, the sine qua non of anti-aging is building the connective tissue. Now, when you have injuries, the body will repair those injuries with the secretion of sticky connective tissue fibers. Sometimes after surgery, when you get cut, there'll be sticky connective tissue fibers that stick the organs together or the tissues together where you had the surgical procedure. These are called adhesions, these sticky parts. Scar tissue can form after you have an injury. What Rolfing does, before I even go to that, when you have scar tissue, when you have adhesions, when you have fibrosis, you start to move funny. Your muscles don't move correctly. You don't walk correctly. Your gait changes, and this can put stresses in unusual places in the body. The body's not supposed to have unusual stresses. So if you're limping or you're hobbled somehow, and all of this can follow adhesions and scar tissue and fibrosis that occurs following damage or following surgeries or following some kind of injury, then that problem becomes compounded. So if you have, say, for example, an ankle surgery, and then you have adhesions in the ankle, and you start to walk a little funny, all of a sudden you're going to have knee problems. Then you might have hip problems, and then you might have back problems, and you might even have shoulder problems and neck problems, all because you have scar tissue in the ankles. So it's very, very important after an injury or after surgery, or just as a part of the aging process, that you break up that scar tissue, you break up those adhesions, you break up the fibrosis. The body work that breaks up adhesions and breaks up fibrosis and breaks up scar tissue is called Rolfing. It was named after a lady named Ida Rolf, R-O-L-F, and they call her procedure Rolfing. And this breaking up of scar tissue in the first place, number one, hurts like hell. It's really painful, but painful in a good way. Like while they're doing it, and Kristy can vouch for this, while they're doing it, it's pretty painful. It's pretty uncomfortable. But when you're done, you feel amazing. And if you do the 10 sessions, there's 10 sessions that you're supposed to do just as a part of regular maintenance. They take pictures of you before they start, and they take pictures of you at the end of 10 sessions. It's unbelievable, the difference, especially if you've in your 40s or 50s or 60s and you've been living your whole life without having any body work done. It is unbelievable. Now you have to go back and have it maintained, but it's an incredible body work, not just for post-injury or post-surgery, but just as a regular part of an anti-aging program. And I'm a huge, huge, huge fan. Anytime you build the connective tissue or do anything with the connective tissue, you're going to improve health. Now, it's also important to recognize that connective tissue is not merely mechanical. It's not merely for the structure of the body. The connective tissue acts like a womb for the cells. And just like a fetus is sitting in the womb, and the womb's job is to feed the fetus and to oxygenate the fetus and to detoxify the fetus, the cells that are ensconced or nested in the connective tissue get fed by the connective tissue, get detoxified by the connective tissue, and get oxygenated by the connective tissue. And the connective tissue not only connects everything, as the name implies, but it also functions like a womb for every cell in the body. In fact, the technical name for the connective tissue is the matrix, or the extracellular matrix. The word matrix literally means womb. And so the connective tissue is not just for structure. It's also for nourishing cells, oxygenating cells, and detoxifying cells, which means it's important for every single cellular function in the body, which is why building the connective tissue is so, so darn important. Not just if you have some kind of full-blown connective tissue-ish disease, but just for the overall health of all of your cells.
Well, there you go. That was a lot of information. So
okay,
Ben,
well.
So Ben, I thought, because you know a lot more about it than I do, that I would get you to do a little interview with Kristy and have Kristy explain.
Yeah, Kristy, I just like I say, I just know about Rolfing as a healthcare professional. Kristy, you're a Rolfer, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So why don't you tell the people about Rolfing from your perspective as a therapist?
Yeah. So can I how do I share my screen? Can I show some pictures?
You should be able to share. Oh. You're on your phone, so I'm not quite sure. There should be.
I'm on my computer.
Okay, so you should have a little green button at the bottom called share.
A little green button at the bottom. Participants, chat, react, more, share. Here we go. Share.
That should work.
Share. Okay, desktop, photos, unknown. Maybe just desktop, entire screen. Let's go share. open system. All our Zoom work class to share your screen. Open system settings. How's that? Is that working?
No.
Oh, here we go.
Let me see if I can. I'll make you a co-host if you press.
Hold on a second.
And that should make it easier for you to share.
Okay. Okay, go.
I sent you a request. You should be able to share now.
In my chat or in?
It just asked. Did it pop? It should have popped up.
No, do it again because I wasn't on the page.
Okay, you've already got permission, so you should be able to share. Okay.
Okay. Oh yeah, I see. Yeah, it's asking me for some permissions on my computer. It's like Apple's going into protection mode. I think it's Apple's going into, but I think maybe I can do it here. Let's see. Okay. So let's see. Can you see this?
Yes, kind of.
Okay, so this is Ida Rolf. So it's named after a woman called Ida Rolf. This is her. She pretty much started her school in 1980, which is when I was born. So Rolfing has only really been around for 43 years. So it's fairly, fairly new concept. So she's a pioneer in the study of myofascia and fascia. So fascia covers your nerves, your organs, your bones, everything in your body. And like you said, it's the white stuff of your connective tissue. And it's very popular right now, but it's been there forever. And it's popular because the studies that were made 40 years ago are really only just coming out and becoming more popular now. So it's part of your breath. It helps you move. It helps you feel pain. So it dissipates pain. So you can have a pain in your liver or have a problem with your liver, but you feel it in the connective tissue where your organs attach into your ligaments in your back, for example. So it's sort of like an organ that helps you feel pain. It helps you digest. It helps your blood circulation. It's super, super important. And here you can, Ben was talking about this lubricated tissue or this excretion of tissues. And here's kind of something what it looks like. Can you see that?
Yes, I can. I'm not.
So see that the fascia is that connective tissue between those muscle fibers. So here you can see muscle fibers and this sticky, stringy-like tissue in between the muscle fibers. They are lubricated tubes. So this secretion happens in these lubricated tubes. And these lubricated tubes help these tissues glide along each other like this. So it's the lubrication of these tissues which helps the form and function, distribution of movement. So it helps with your proprioception, which is where you are in space. So the nerve endings or the nervous system plays a massive role within movement and pain. And here's some more pictures of fascia. This is what adipose. So this is your fat, basically, is a type of fascial tissue. Let's see. This is muscle fascia. So fascia around the muscle. These are all dissections of another presentation that I did. Here's another picture of those lubricated tubes that Ben was talking about that excrete all of this nutrients through the body, which of course to make that lubricated tubes as healthy as possible, you need to take your vitamins.
And your minerals, don't forget the minerals.
Yeah.
And
so the actual technique of fascia is, maybe you can see that picture there, it's a little bit different from massage. It's a lot more holding the tissue and asking for movement. And the reason why that is because you're stimulating the proprioceptive qualities of the fascia or the tissue. So it helps you, you're resetting the bones and the organs and the muscles through touch and movement. And then of course, in here, I've got a picture of me doing some Pilates. You also need to stimulate the tissue through weight bearing. So it's super important to weight bear. For example, they say when you go see your doctor, weight bear, do some weightlifting to help prevent osteoporosis. That's because the fascia is stimulated through pressure either by touch or pressure by holding a heavy weight during sports or weightlifting. So what else do I have here? Some pictures. I talked a little bit about nerve endings. So this is what your nerves look like in your fascia. Can you see those? It's just like, it basically looks like a cloud with tiny little lines.
Oh yes, it's harder to see, but I can see it.
Yeah, so there's nerve endings and nerves moving through the fascia. Here is an example of the contractile properties of fascia. So fascia is, if you can see in there, this is a microscopic, you can see how movement is distributed through the fascia. So those little, you can see here the little green sticky cells that I showed you before. So this is somebody moving, or there could be a digestive thing happening here. And if during the process of inflammation, these little lubricated tissues stick together and make a clumping, like you can see here, there's little red clumpings of the tissue. So if you don't eat well or do exercise, these clumpings of the tissue get stuck and they never change. They will stay there, they'll calcify and create arthritic tissue and movement dysfunction later on in life. I talked about the gliding of the tissue. So here is a muscle gliding over a nerve ending. So you can see if those clumpings of the tissue get stuck together, those muscles and nerve endings don't move very well. And you will eventually get the osteoporosis that we talked about. Here's a really cool, a very, very important sense of fascia. So this is your lower back, called your thoracolumbar fascia, which connects your lower back to your arms. It also helps your glutes and your core fibers, core muscles. That's one of, I work on that all the time. Got to be one of the primary problems in humans is lower back pain. What else do you want to know? Give me some more questions, Ben.
What do you guys do for nutrition after you Rolf?
I guess in Rolfing, I would say you're really working on the symptom. You don't really talk about nutrition at all. We don't study any nutrition.
Not for accelerating healing or building connective tissue?
Anti-inflammatory. So anti-inflammatory things. So hot cold is very good. I use different sort of stimulating creams on the skin. If clients ask me, I will definitely say different sorts of nutritional supplements that they can take. But generally, I don't recommend any. I'm not qualified to give anyone information on their food or nutrition.
How about? Go ahead.
But generally, it's anything to do with anti-inflammatory, and of course, decrease sugar, dairy, gluten.
Okay. How about obese people?
I live in a place called Chamonix in France. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
No obese people?
It's very similar to Boulder, and there's very few obese people.
All right.
However, I'm about to go through a course in France, a personal training course, just to get a qualification in France. That's where I live. And one of the subjects is helping to reduce obesity within France. So yes, and it's just consultation on movement and exercise. I personally really like Pilates and kettlebells for movement.
Okay, great.
And of course, stimulating that with helping them with their diet. So going through a diet plan, reducing the food, sugar and fat intake.
What do you tell people between Rolfing sessions to help maintain their the work that you did, maintain the session in between sessions?
Well, there's 10 sessions. The series is 10, and each series has a specific goal. So for example, session number 2 is about remodeling the foot. Session number 3, 4, and 5 is about getting the pelvis over the feet. So you're remodeling the pelvis to follow what you've done from the session before, which is the feet. And session number 1 is breathing, so teaching people how to breathe.
Yeah.
So between each session, you will follow the goal of the previous session. So for example, session number 1 is opening up the chest, opening up the breathing systems, releasing the diaphragm. and you will get them to do some breathing techniques between session number 1 and session number 2. Session number 2 is the foot. So you may give them some conscious, maybe give them some exercises if you find something specific about the feet, or you'll just give them a consciousness of how they're walking. And then you go into the pelvis, then you get the person. Rolfing also is the process. So you're trying to get the person to understand their own bodies. So you'll get them to understand their specific movement patterns related to their pelvis and their feet. So you will create an exercise or a consciousness of what's going on there, and it goes all the way up to 8, 9, and 10. So 8, 9, and 10 sessions are more about movement. So understanding your core biomechanics into your arms and your legs, because your proprioception, really your hands and your feet play a major role in that proprioceptive transition. So if you're not using your arms when you walk, you're not walking properly, for example. So you will create a consciousness of where your arms and your legs are in space.
Explain proprioception for the folks.
Proprioception is where you are in space. So if my hand is up here, without looking at my hand, I can know that my hand is somewhere around, maybe slightly above my ear. If you have a proprioceptive dysfunction, you don't know where you are in space. So for example, I don't know if you can see my shoulders. I have probably 4 or 5 shoulder injuries. And without looking at myself in the computer, maybe you can see. So here, my proprioception, if I can make it good, I think right now, both elbows are about the same distance from my ears, but I'm not actually so sure. Are they? Can you guys see?
They're very close.
Okay,
I'm
I'm looking
probably
now.
slightly higher than the other.
Okay, I'm looking now. You can see here, my right elbow is slightly bent.
Yes.
So I'm creating a compensation to try and get my elbow up here. So now that I'm looking at myself, I can adjust and readjust. Or what I could do is I could take an object. This is when weightlifting is very useful. I can put an object in my hand, and that helps me propriocept around the object to make my arms straight. So now my proprioception of where my arms are in space is a lot better. Breakfast. So yeah, proprioception basically is your brain and body's capacity to sense where it is in space. And every step that you take, doesn't matter, and very quickly those proprioception actions happen.
How about interoception?
Interoception is, what's interoception? Now you're testing me. Interoception is
Inside.
Probably, yeah,
Inside.
interoception. I guess it's maybe your organs, understanding
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm not feeling very well right now. Maybe I
Yeah.
feel a bit nauseous. Why
Yes.
am I feeling nauseous?
All
Yeah.
that. Understand the inside of your body. Between proprioception and interoception, you have 2 of our major leverage points for understanding how our bodies work. And the fact that we don't understand how our bodies work is why we end up getting medicated or getting carved up. We just listen to what we're being told because we don't understand our own bodies. And understanding our bodies via interoception, understanding the inside, or proprioception, understanding how our bodies move in space, is one of the most important things you could do to keep yourself out of the doctor's office, or to keep yourself to avoid being poisoned or cut up.
No, totally.
All right, what else?
Well, and what about anyone else? Are there any people in the audience who want to ask a question?
I was going to just ask the same thing.
Hi there. Hi, Ben. Hi, Bronwyn. Hi, Kristy. Thanks for that.
Where'd you go, Steph?
Hey, pardon? Oh, there you go. Sorry. Can you see me?
Kinda.
Oh, I've lost you. No, you haven't got to.
Am I back on?
Now you have.
Am I back on? Hi, guys. How are you? That was really interesting. I've been interested in this Rolfing. I've only heard of it, but I definitely would love to get some. It sounds amazing. Oops. I actually have, while we've got Ben on the call, I have a question for him. It's got nothing to do with Rolfing, and I'm just wondering if that's okay.
Sure.
Sure. Go
So
ahead.
can you hear me?
Yes, it's
Yes.
a bit, you're a bit choppy, but go
Can
ahead.
you hear me now? You can hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, so am I breaking up? Am I
A little
rolling?
bit, but go
Just while
ahead.
we've got Ben on the line. I was
Yeah.
wondering. Okay, great. So I have a friend who's had a baby, and there was basically there was some malpractice, they think, and he's being born with lack of oxygen and to his brain, and he's got a lot of brain damage to different aspects of his brain. Now he's almost 6 months old. They've diagnosed him with spastic quadriplegic cerebral palsy.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's just absolutely horrific. They're saying that he won't be able to walk, see, and potentially hear. He's had seizures at the early age from the lack of oxygen. They think that was malpractice while he was in the birthing canal.
Wow.
So I just really just
Are
have
they-
been
is-
waiting for you to come onto a call so I could talk to you about it, Ben, and just what your recommendations might be for this poor little child. And
Yeah, that's terrible. Are they breastfeeding?
I'm not sure at the moment. I'm sorry. They wanted to be on the call, but they have they're a really important
Why
call.
don't you? I'd have to. I can't really help them through you. I'd have to ask them a bunch of questions. But why don't you have them call me or email, and we'll reach out by phone.
Okay, great. What's your
Okay,
email,
cool.
Ben?
Ben at ksco.com. Ben, my name, at
Yep.
K for King, S
Yep.
for Sam,
Yep.
C for Cat, O
Yep.
for Oscar.com. Ben at ksco.com.
All right. Amazing. Thank you so much. I will
Sure.
do
Thank
that.
you. I'm sorry that happened. That's terrible.
Thank you. Thank you.
Similar happened to one of our grandchildren.
Oh, it's just terrific, isn't it?
That
But yeah,
is horrific.
thank you. And I'm definitely really interested in this role thing. I'll have to source someone out this way. I've just moved to the country, so I haven't been getting any body work done, but it sounds amazing. Sort of
If
similar
you-
to myotherapy a little bit.
If you look
Yeah,
Like
at
what kind of
that,
therapy?
Is it sort of similar to myotherapy a little bit?
Well, myotherapy is muscle therapy. This is more about the connective tissue, but
Yeah.
kind of the same, kind of similar. I mean, Christy can probably answer that better than I can. But it's
Yeah,
along
myo. The word myo just is a word for muscle. So fascia covers everything. It covers organs, nerves, bones, everything. So myotherapy is just working on the muscle. But if you look up myofascia or fascia when you Google, you'll find other therapists that do fascia. Because Rolfing may not necessarily. There's a guy in Melbourne who teaches something called Myofascial Release, and so
Okay,
he's training therapists in Rolfing. It's just that he's not allowed to call it Rolfing because he's a Rolfer, but just because of bureaucratic blah blah, he can't call himself a Rolfer. So if you just Google Myofascial Release or fascia, you'll find massage therapists, osteos, physios that are trained in fascia.
Yeah, cool. I have had a bit of that kind of work done before, but yeah, it wasn't like you said, it wasn't actually called Rolfing, like the Rolfing practitioner.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's awesome. No, thank you. Yeah, wealth of knowledge.
Thank you,
and
Steph.
I also just wanted to add to that. I can't quote the article that I read, but there's also a study done on scoliosis, because that's what we started talking about scoliosis happening in utero. So it's the development of the spinal cord in utero. So not only is it about the nutrition of the child, it's also the nutrition of the parent when they're pregnant.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That is a good point. Yeah,
Because I have scoliosis myself, so
it's not uncommon. It's not uncommon. And if you do have it, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're taking care of any other causes of inflammation in the body, which of course are usually digestive. And that way you can minimize the impact of that. Also making sure that your blood is alkaline and not acidic. As the blood becomes acidic, the bones soften, and that can lead to scoliosis as well as osteoporosis. But acid blood is a sign of toxicity, which again implicates blood sugar in the digestive system and our triangle of disease.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've been struggling with SIBO for quite some time. I've been on longevity, for a year and a bit now, and I've had some fantastic results, especially with the OsteoFX is just such a fantastic product, and the glucose, everything like that, and taking a really potent like liposomal turmeric product, curcumin product as well, which is really helping with the inflammation.
Collagen peptides too.
I'm on the collagen. Yeah, I love all the longevity products, so I have everything.
Well, that's awesome, Steph. I'm so pleased that you were able to get on and learn a little bit of both. And
Yeah,
Karen,
thank you so much.
you're
Thank you.
welcome. All right, so Karen's room have a question.
Yes.
Karen, I've got you up there.
Hello, Karen.
Hello.
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 Hi,
There's
people.
Anna. Hi, how you going? I just wanted to know your thoughts on, the rollers for releasing fascia. You know, when you go to the gym.
Oh, I like the rollers. Did I hear you say? I mean, Kristy probably knows more of that than I do, but I like the rollers. I think they're great.
Yeah. Is that worthwhile doing regularly?
I say 100%. What do you think, Kristy?
I think if you have the time and the energy and the love for your own body to sit down and use a roller, I think the benefits of that in its own is also extremely beneficial. No, the foam roller is great. If you're getting are you getting criticism from a physio about the foam roller? Why are you asking the question?
No, because I just, it really, it's quite painful when you do it and you kind of go, oh.
And is there a specific area that you're working on that's painful, or just everywhere when you're using it?
Everywhere, yeah.
Everywhere. Okay, so that would definitely be related to your fascia. So when you have all over everywhere pains, there's a condition called, what's it called? Something myo something or other. It's really the distribution, the fascia is in tension. So you feel this all over pain if it's not a specific area. So I would say just use it more. You'll find that the nervous system, and as the muscles and the tissues release, it will get less painful. There are specific areas in the body where you could be foam rollering on the nerve. So for example, in your iliotibial band, which is the side of the leg, the side of the thigh, has a nerve running straight through the middle of it. And lots of people will use the foam roller on this particular area. And if there's one spot where it hurts, and that's because you're right on top of a nerve. But if you're feeling pain when you're using the roller everywhere, you just need to do it more.
Yeah, because I do a lot of weightlifting, so I just am conscious of needing to do that sort of more often.
Yeah, maybe try foam rollering before the weightlifting too. So you're releasing the tissue, creating space for the stabilization phase, which is the weightlifting.
Thank you.
So do it before the exercise. Maybe it's less painful than after as well, because you don't have that lactic acid.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else got a question? Except that. Oh, yeah, Roz. Yeah. Roz.
There's usually 26 people in that room there, Kristy.
There you go.
Good morning. My question is about memory loss.
Okay, so that's for Ben.
Yes.
I didn't. Is there a question?
Memory memory.
Oh, memory loss.
Yes.
A lot of things. First of all, it's not unusual as we get older to lose memory, and memory loss and brain issues are usually, or often, it will say, the result of metabolic syndrome, which is a blood sugar issue. So working with your blood sugar is very important. We'll go back to the triangle, really. Gut bacteria secrete chemicals into the bloodstream that can affect the brain. Gluten and other lectins from foods can also cause problems with the brain. So working on digestive health is really important, as well as blood sugar health. Calming the body down at the level of the adrenal glands is going to be important. Relaxation strategies, getting enough sleep, stabilizing cortisol with something like pregnenolone or vitamin A, vitamin E. Those are all anti-cortisol nutrients. Our de-stress, Japanese de-stress can be helpful. In addition to I-26 and the healthy brain and heart pack and the healthy blood sugar pack, both of those can help. The healthy brain and heart pack's a little more direct for the brain. And then exercising your brain by doing things like memorizing phone numbers, memorizing credit card numbers. When you go to the health food store, the grocery store, and get bulk items, memorize the bulk item rather than writing it on the tag. Doing things differently, brushing your teeth with your left hand instead of your right hand, or vice versa, if you're doing it with whatever hand it is. Doing things differently has benefits for the brain. Writing with your other hand, if you're a lefty, writing your hand with the right hand. If you're a righty, writing with your left hand. Get a novelty will give you more connections, brain connections, and will help secrete something called BDNF, brain-derived neurotropic factor, which is a chemical that improves brain health. And then strictly for nutrients, your ultimate EFAs are super, super important for the brain. Essential fatty acids, that is. The B vitamins, which you'll find in Beyond Tangy Tangerine. And of course, Synaptive, which is specifically designed for brain health.
Thank you very much.
You betcha.
I hope Karen has taken notes there.
Well, you can always watch the replay.
Yes.
And pause
Yeah.
it. That's what I do. Take notes.
Thank you very much.
You
You're
bet.
very
Thank
welcome.
you.
I know Karen had another question as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
another two.
Jen, I just want to ask about cupping. What's your opinion about cupping, Kristy?
Cupping's great. I see if Kristy has any opinion on that. I think cupping's great. For
Yeah,
improving
cupping-
circulation, for detoxification, for opening things up, breaking up fat tissue, maybe even breaking up scar tissue. Kristy probably has an opinion on that.
Yeah, no, it's great for circulation and everything you just said. It's definitely another tool. I also use something kind of similar to cupping. It's called dry needling. Another way of releasing tissue and creating circulation and
Yep.
breaking up tissue. Yeah, so it's just
And improving
another technique.
improving the
Yeah.
lymph too.
Exactly, yeah.
So
What did you call that again?
you combine it with roll.
Cupping.
Yeah, yeah. So you'll find Rolfers is generally a secondary education. So most people combine it with something they're already doing. So like cupping, massage, physio, osteo. It's generally an additional. It's a continuing education.
Okay, thank you so much.
And one more, Anna. I've sent that to you, Bronie, the one I sent to you.
Yes.
Yeah, that's that one.
Hi, another question for Ben. A friend of mine has just been diagnosed. He's been really sick. He was diagnosed with pancreatitis, and he's gone to hospital, and they've found a tumor, a cyst behind the pancreas that is the size of the pancreas.
Oh my gosh. That's something you definitely want to.
And he's also been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes.
Well, they go hand in hand. The pancreas is your diabetes organ, a gland. So that makes perfect sense. So that's really what you want to be doing. That's a person that needs to be eating as little as possible. The pancreas makes I call the pancreas the Mr. Cellophane of the body because it's transparent. Nobody appreciates the pancreas, but the pancreas does a lot of work, and this is why pancreatic cancer has a reputation for being the deadliest form of cancer. The pancreas is your blood sugar metabolizing gland and makes insulin. So the more sugar you're eating, the more fruit you're eating, the more fruit juice you're eating, the more food you're eating that spike insulin, the harder your pancreas has to work. This is a patient who wants their pancreas to calm down. So staying away from anything that makes the pancreas work hard, and that obviously is the sugars. And this person has gone off the wagon with the sugars, obviously, because they're dealing with diabetes issues. The tumor tells me that the pancreas is working extra hard. Now this is going to have to do with excess calories in addition to excess sugar. So keeping calories down, and especially keeping calories down from fast burning sugars, anything that spikes insulin. Fasting would be important, calorie restriction would be important, and low carb will also be important. You can also use digestive enzymes to reduce the load on the pancreas, and particularly you can use something called pancreatin or pancreatic enzymes, which will reduce the load on the pancreas. Using baking soda after meals, and you want to wait like maybe 5 or 6 hours after a meal, maybe not that long, 4 hours after a meal. You don't want to do baking soda with the meal because that'll neutralize the acid. But once the food leaves the stomach and goes into the intestine, what's supposed to happen is the pancreas is supposed to secrete enzymes and baking soda into the bile, into the intestine along with bile. If they have pancreatic problem, that may not happen, and that'll lead to intestinal issues and malabsorption. And it's likely that this person does have intestinal issues, diarrhea, loose stools, malabsorption, all those things. So working with the pancreas in terms of pancreatin and sodium bicarb, which is baking soda, after meals can also help reduce the load on the pancreas. Keeping that pancreas relaxed and calm is very, very important for this patient. Keep in mind that cyst or that growth on the pancreas is a very, very bad sign, and they'll know that they're getting better when that growth shrinks.
Ben, can I jump in real quick on that?
Yeah.
There's something called Ozempic, and you'd be familiar.
Yes,
Is
I'm very familiar with it.
Is it good?
No, there's no drugs that are ever good. Ozempic is a drug that imitates a chemical called glucagon. It's known as a GLP-1 agonist. GLP is glucagon-like peptide. So it's a drug that makes you feel satisfied so that you don't eat a lot, or you get satisfied more quickly. You eat less food. And in that way, Ozempic can be helpful. The problem is it's a drug, and now your body has extra work to do. So if they're absolutely feel like it's impossible for them to control their appetite, maybe, but it's not a good idea to use a drug to take care of a health challenge, because now your body, which is already compromised, has to deal with the drug. So, and if they have diabetes, it's likely they have a liver problem. Also, metabolic syndrome affects the liver. The liver is responsible for clearing Ozempic. It just puts more work. It gives an already stressed out body more work to do.
And the kidneys have slowed right down. The kidneys are in.
Yeah. How old is this person?
At nearly 80.
Okay. All right. Well, it's a little tougher when you're nearly 80, because she's going to have to completely change her life. Everything you're talking about, from the kidney issues to the pancreatic issues to the diabetes issue, all indicate poor food choices. And that means something as simple as changing the way she eats, changing her food choices, can go a long way towards resolving this condition. The poor food choices that she's making have been going on for years. She's 80, chances are since she was a kid. So now this is a gal who's going to have to change everything, and that's, some 80-year-old people don't always want to do that. If you want to supplement the issue, to support the issue, use the healthy blood sugar pack.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Is that all in your room, Karen?
Yep.
Good job.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to go to Rose now.
Hi.
Hi, Rose. You go ahead and ask your question.
Okay.
Hi, Rose.
Hi. I'm 51 years old. Been suffering with constant lightheadedness and headaches daily.
Does the lightheadedness when you stand up? Do you notice lightheadedness when you stand up out of a seated position, or?
Yeah.
And then you said the constant headaches. All right. How are you in? Are you menopausal or perimenopausal or anywhere in there?
I think I'm premenopausal in the fact of,
are you missing periods, or are they?
No, I've had a hysterectomy, so.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the issue. And first, I just got to gather myself together, because that makes me so mad when I hear what you just said. You had a hysterectomy because you had a problem with your female reproductive system. You probably had cysts or endometriosis, or.
No, the reason I had the hysterectomy is because I had very heavy bleeding, and therefore I had to have 2 iron infusions, because
Instead of correcting the problem, they took your organs out. And now you're going to have to deal with all of the secondary issues from losing your organs. When you take doctors, God love them, and I don't want to rip on them because they do a lot of good work, but some of them are just dumber than dirt. To take an organ system out, like your female reproductive organ system, it's not like we're just going to take a part out. That whole reproductive system makes all kinds of hormones for your body.
Yeah.
Now you're not making those hormones for your body, which means your adrenal glands, which are your secondary hormone glands, are going to pick up all the slack. All your sex hormones, your reproductive hormones, are being made now adrenally rather than through your ovaries, through the female reproductive system. That puts a big burden on the adrenal glands. What you're describing is called postural hypotension, and that is related to an adrenal duress issue.
Yeah.
Your adrenal glands are burnt out or fried because they're doing all of this extra work. So what you have to do now, and are you on estrogen hormone replacement therapy?
No. I'm on the second bottle of the Anna's Wild Yam Cream. I don't know if you're aware of that.
What's it called?
Anna's Wild Yam Cream. It's a
wild yam cream. Yeah. Wild yam cream. That's like Skittles. You know, Skittles are.
Nothing.
That's what wild yam cream is. It's Skittles. you really need some progesterone. Wild yam has progesterone, has a similar to progesterone molecule, a plant version of progesterone. It's not real progesterone. You should probably be on progesterone. You want to make absolutely 100% sure you're on the ultimate EFAs. In fact, the Healthy Start Pack with extra ultimate EFAs. I would be on those.
Yeah.
And then there's a whole bunch of stuff, but what you really want to do is you want to work back at the triangle, because you're, as you recall, I don't know if you've heard me talk about this before, the 3 points of bodily breakdown that underlie all chronic degenerative disease are the digestive system, the blood sugar system, and the adrenal thyroid axis.
Yes.
Because your issues are at the adrenal thyroid axis, and you're compromised at the level of your reproductive system, your female reproductive system, it's extra urgent that you focus on digestive health and blood sugar health. Now, chances are you have some kind of digestive health issue, whether you know it or not. Sometimes you don't know it, but you may know it. Gas, bloating, constipation, heartburn, discomfort, any of those kinds of things. You have them.
Bloating, I do for sure.
I know it for sure. I've been doing this for 40 years and I've talked to thousands of people, so I know it for sure. The problem is sometimes they go under the radar. If something happens all the time, you don't notice it. The brain kind of only notices novelty. It only notices when something's unusual. But if you have bloat all the time, you won't even remember it. If you're constipated all the time, or if you're gassed all the time, whatever it is. So it's extra imperative that you work on intestinal health and digestive health. Likewise with the blood sugar system. These are the 2 points that precede the adrenal thyroid axis. And because you have such a stress going on in your adrenal glands, and that's what's causing that vertigo or that dizziness, likely it's also causing the headaches, although foods could be responsible for the headaches as well. It's possible when you lose your, when you have a hysterectomy, you lose your female reproductive organs, you're still making estrogen. You're not making progesterone really, but you're still making estrogen because estrogen is made in fat cells. So now you have what's called unopposed estrogen. In other words, you don't have enough balance on the estrogen. The estrogen is supposed to be balanced with progesterone because you're not making progesterone, but you're still making estrogen, especially if you have excess body fat. Now you've got this unopposed estrogen, and that can wreak havoc on your body and cause all kinds of problems, including problems with headaches, but it can cause bloating, and it can cause muscle pain and insomnia and weight gain and depression and a whole spectrum of health challenges. And this is the unopposed estrogen. So tell the knucklehead doctor who took out your organs that you want to be on real progesterone. You want to be on real, not yam, real progesterone to balance out that estrogen. Also, you want to clear out that, you want to be clearing out estrogen. Estrogen is ordinarily dumped out of the body quickly, but it's dumped out of the body through the liver and the gallbladder and the intestine. If you have issues at that level, you're not going to be clearing out that estrogen. It's going to recycle. And now you're going to have high levels of estrogen in your blood, particularly this extra super strong estrogen that we talked about last week. And it's unopposed. And that can wreak havoc on your metabolic system. It can cause problems with the thyroid, problems with your blood sugar system, and problems with the digestive system. It's likely you're hypothyroid too, by the way. And all of these can resolve by working on, number 1, digestive health, particularly at the level of the intestine. Number 2, blood sugar health. And then number 3, balancing out that estrogen with real progesterone.
Does longevity have the...
Now, the real progesterone it doesn't have, but we can help you with your digestive health and your blood sugar health. You can go online and get progesterone cream, but look for progesterone. Wild yam contains a plant version of progesterone, but it's not really progesterone.
Okay.
You need real progesterone, not drug progesterone. If you go to the doctor, they'll give you drug progesterone. That's different.
That's what I was on, yeah.
You don't want that. That's called medroxyprogesterone, and that's one of the nastiest drugs there is. You want real progesterone, not drug progesterone.
Where do I get that from?
You can get it online. You can get it at health food stores. It's readily available. Comes in a cream, usually about 2 or 3%, and then follow the directions on it, depending on the strength. And you'll know when it's working because you'll be relaxed. You probably have issues with sleep and probably anxiety issues. All of these are secondary. All of these are secondary to the estrogen and maybe even cortisol. The progesterone will calm everything down. You can also use something called pregnenolone, Pregnenolone, and that comes in a tablet or capsule. 50 milligrams of that a day. That also has a nice calming effect.
Is that separate to, is that
Yeah, that would be
to
separate.
the progesterone?
Yeah, Bronie, I'd recommend the I-26, all the digestive support, and the healthy blood sugar system, healthy blood sugar pack.
Okay, yeah. But we have those, Rose. We have the
Okay.
I-26 and the healthy body blood sugar pack. You said, didn't you? What was
Healthy
the other
blood sugar
thing?
pack and all the digestive support, especially the I-26.
Yeah, the
It's
I-26
very important.
didn't
Not
get-
that I don't want to be all gross here, but it's very important that you have regular bowel movements because that's how you're clearing out that estrogen.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you're constipated and clogged up, the estrogen is going to recirculate.
No, I'm not constipated, but yeah, more the other way.
Okay. Oh, the other way. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then that's another issue. That's a whole nother issue. Yeah.
All
You
right,
may
so-
also you may also be eating, if you're eating something that your body doesn't agree with, which can cause the loose stools as your body tries to eliminate, that can also result in neurological issues like headaches specifically. So you might want to look, you might want to do a food diary and see where relate specific foods to your headaches.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And then one last thing I'll tell you,
Yeah.
if you practice slow, deep, rhythmic breathing, that can have a calming effect on you. That can help you sleep, and that can also have balance out some of the stress that the estrogen's producing. Plus, it will help you with the vertigo, especially if you do it before you stand up or before you make a sudden movement. That's when you get the dizziness. If before you get out of a seated position, if you practice slow, deep breathing, you might find that might help the vertigo.
Okay.
Karen was asking, what about the good herbs, adrenaline?
You know, I don't want to offend any herbalists out there, but you're not going to really change your life with the good herbs. I'm a nutritionist.
This coffee, okay. Gracie, can you unmute? Oh, good.
I am driving, but quickly I'm at the lights. Yeah, is coffee okay with all this progesterone and what women's stuff?
Coffee's fine, but caffeine can be very stimulating. So if somebody's dealing with some kind of hyperactive condition, like if you have excess estrogen or you have adrenal issues, the caffeine might be too stimulating. It's not the coffee, it's the caffeine.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, Ben. And
Sure.
I think I need to add a bit of progesterone or up the body balance. What do you think of the body balance?
Body balance is good. Body balance
Yeah.
is good, but progesterone is super effective. There's nothing that compares to that.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So, Gracie, you're driving, so you probably can't ask those thousands of questions you sent me.
Thank you. I appreciate you doing it on my behalf, Bronie. If that's okay.
Okay, I did send them.
Well, that's right. Is that a hologram? Are you a hologram or a real person there, Grace?
No, I'm a real person. I just can't
just
get
driving and she'll get a ticket.
Oh, you look like a hologram. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
I don't know how that happened.
That's awesome. All right.
Thank you.
Oh, dear.
Thank you.
All right. So Rose, did that answer all your questions?
Yes, thank you. I just have to try and source that progesterone. That's all.
I'm
You can
just
find,
wondering.
Australia's a little funny, what you can use and what you can't use. So I'm not 100% sure that you'll find it in Australia, but I know that it's readily available here in the United States and in Europe. So chances are you could at least find it on Amazon and have it shipped to you.
Okay.
I'm just wondering whether the Rolfing or because we had a little chat before we started recording, so whether the Rolfing would help with that as well, Kristy, or our similar.
You're asking me whether Rolfing will change your progesterone level?
Yes, whether it could help, not just that fact she's talking about that she's lightheaded and a bit of vertigo.
I mean, there are certain tests that you can do if you were to come in for a session that would test your balance and things like that. So again, it would be more of a movement-based therapy. So if you're having balance issues, I would suggest movement. So you can go on, online and find some movement-based therapies to help brain function. So standing on one leg, moving in rotations, looking up, looking down, focusing on one thumb as example, turning your head left and right. These are more working the neurological connections to movement and balance.
That's a
which
good
you
tip
can
too.
combine with soft tissue work and Rolfing, of course. It just depends. You have to find a therapist who can do both.
Yeah. All right, Rose. Hopefully that's given you a little bit more to work on.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Now, Ben, I sent you through a heap of questions
About?
from Gracie, but I will do my best to read them out to you. All right.
Okay.
I say she has a customer after seeing her doctor.
Right.
Her blood tests this week, her calcium levels were too high, so she stopped taking the osteo. Kidneys also working well, also not working well, so she increased the water. What could be the reason for the high calcium?
Well, a couple things. First of all, there's a gland called in your neck next to your thyroid called your parathyroid gland. And that regulates the amount of calcium that's absorbed into the blood. She may have a parathyroid issue. They probably check for that. But usually when that happens, especially, is it an older person?
Yes.
Yeah, usually when that happens, that's a sign of what's called acidosis. Acidosis is when your blood pH drops to an acidic level or less than alkaline level. Blood is supposed to have a pH of 7.38. When it drops to 7-ish or even lower sometimes, the body will leach out calcium from the bones to neutralize the acid. So calcium is used by the body as a buffer for acid. And when calcium levels are high in the blood, oftentimes it represents an attempt by the body to neutralize blood acidity, to alkalinize the blood. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So between the parathyroid and acidity, and if this is an older patient, I would assume that it has to do with blood acidity. So what I'd be doing is I'd be trying to alkalinize the blood. There's a couple things you could do for that. Oxygen is the fastest way to alkalinize the blood. So breathing, slow, deep rhythmic breathing is important. If she has any issues with toxicity, either excess sugar or toxicity is getting into the bloodstream, that can also lead to an acidotic condition. If she has a kidney problem, that can lead to an acidotic condition. And the major cause of kidney issues is blood sugar. So working the blood sugar system also. So again, it boils down to the triangle of disease. Now I'm assuming they checked your parathyroid, so I'm not gonna address that, but they probably didn't check for blood acidity, especially if she's going to a standard regular doctor who doesn't know these kinds of things. Calcium supplements, in a way, can actually help because they will neutralize the blood, so the body doesn't have to leach out, or they can help neutralize the blood, or alkalinize, I should say, not neutralize, but alkalinize the blood, so that the body doesn't have to leach out the calcium. So maybe that calcium will actually help her, but more importantly is the acidosis. That's what I'd be thinking, that she's got some kind of metabolic acidosis condition, and that involves respiration, toxicity, and kidney issues. And those are all the areas I would be addressing: digestive health, blood sugar health, and then making sure she's working on her respiratory, practicing slow, deep breathing.
Yes, because Dr. You've said it before, Dr. Glidden has said it, and Dr. Wallach has also said it, that often if you have those calcium issues, it's the lack of.
Yeah,
so you need to up it.
Calcium is leaking out of the blood.
That's what her clients, that's what Gracie's had a couple of clients do exactly that. Stop it. So, because her next question is from another customer, I think it's another customer, integrated doctor, says her, can you talk, Gracie? No?
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, good. So you want to go to the second one, because this one's the one that had the doctor telling her that calcium is done. And
Lovely.
Can I just interrupt for a second? I have to catch a train, so I'm going to leave the meeting now.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kristy.
It's super interesting. Lovely to meet you, Ben. And
thank you. Nice
I
to
look
meet you as
forward
well.
to, it was amazing. Thank you very much. See you guys.
Okay, bye,
Thank
Kristy.
you very much for coming on,
Bye.
Kristy. We absolutely loved you.
Okay.
See you tomorrow.
Yes. Oh.
Bye. Okay. Sorry about that, Gracie. So this is.
That's okay. Thank you. So I have another customer. She's in her mid-50s. She's very healthy. She's been on longevity for the past year. She's done the liver detox, various gut our gut protocols, and her gut is the best it's ever been, according to her integrative doctor. But what's happening, she had to stop the osteo in the beginning because it was swelling her hands, and the natural doctors are saying that her body makes too much calcium. So she doesn't take any of our osteo. And thank you. Can you tell me why?
Unless you're a mountain, your body doesn't make calcium.
Okay.
No bodies make calcium. So I don't know. That must be a misunderstanding.
So what are they saying that they're, so what are the doctors, why do you think they're telling these clients that their body's making calcium?
I don't ever bother trying to explain what a doctor says. So I can't answer that.
All right. So it is, it is important for her to be on osteo.
Yeah, I would want to see how they know OsteoFX makes her hands swell. That doesn't really sound right to me. So she, as soon as she drinks her OsteoFX or takes her OsteoFX powder, her hands get swollen?
She puts it down to that. Doesn't sound right. Yeah.
That doesn't sound right. I'd want to see that. If she's got a swelling, now it could be a reaction, I suppose, an allergic reaction. That's usually what that means. If you do something like ingest something and then start dealing with some kind of inflammation, that's an allergic reaction, but it doesn't sound like that. How old is this patient?
She's only 55.
And what other health? She must have some other health issues.
I think in the past. Look, I guess she's working on them. We're helping her.
I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm just because that'll help us figure out what's going on in her body. What other health issues does she have?
She has. I know she's had gut problems and back problems, but I'll need to readdress that with her.
I would have to see. I'd want to know what else. I'd want to know what else she has. It doesn't sound right to me that she would take the osteo and all of a sudden get swollen hands. That doesn't sound right to me.
Right.
And the body doesn't make calcium, so that must be a misunderstanding somewhere. No, I don't think a doctor would ever say that.
So your body can't make extra calcium. Okay, I'll get her to jump on.
It doesn't make calcium at all. It doesn't make extra. It doesn't make any. Calcium is a mineral. No, unless she's a mountain. Yes, thank you.
Like you said a minute ago, if you get calcium in your blood and stuff, it's drawn from your bones. Gracie,
right. There's about 1 or 2% calcium of your calcium in your body, a small percent. 1%, I don't remember, but something like 1% of the calcium in your body is in your blood. The rest of it is in the bones. The calcium in the blood is designed to turn cells on. Calcium is an activating molecule. It turns cells on. That's why when they want to slow your heart down or lower your blood pressure, they give you a calcium blocker. Calcium channel blocker. And by the way, magnesium and vitamin K are 2 supplements that will help balance out calcium. Vitamin K doesn't balance it out. Magnesium balances out calcium. Vitamin K attracts calcium to the bones. So for folks who are dealing with issues with calcium in the either osteoporosis or excess hypercalcemia, too much calcium in the blood, they may want to consider using vitamin K or K2 and magnesium supplements, the OsteoMag.
Okay. So, Gracie, I'm not sure if she can still talk. You also had a lady with a split tongue. Did you want to ask that question?
That is the same lady. Same lady who about the calcium coming out of her body. She has multiple splits on her tongue, and she's wondering what the cause of that is.
Well, that's what I was telling you. There's got to be other things going on, typically.
Yeah.
Is it something that just happened?
Yes, it's just recent.
Yeah, tongue splitting can be pretty serious. Now, any tongue issues oftentimes have something to do with the thyroid. And it does sound like she has that she may have some kind of thyroid condition. Do you know anything about this?
Unfortunately, no. I'll have to come back to you on the next call for more information.
Tongue issues oftentimes involve the thyroid. It's not really the end of the world if you have a split tongue, but the thyroid is what I'd be concerned about.
Okay. All right. We'll go with that. So she might need some more healing.
Well, if it's the thyroid issue, you got to work on the triangle, the blood sugar system, and the digestive system, especially. Yes.
Lovely. Awesome.
I don't know if tongue splitting is specifically hypothyroidism, but tongue issues in general, like they call a scalloped tongue or a swelling of the tongue, those oftentimes involve hypothyroidism or thyroiditis.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll work on her thyroid and I'll come back to you with some more information. Thank you.
Okay. Thank
you so
you.
much. Thanks, Bronie.
You're welcome, Gracie. Now, I have another lady who is camera shy, so that's okay. But she can talk now. What's her name? Charlie. Charlie, are you able to unmute? There you go.
That's Shelley. That's Shelley. That's a girlfriend of mine. I'm not sure. I think that she's asked you to ask the question.
Yes, but I've asked her if she was okay to talk.
What
Yes,
is-
I'm here.
what is-
Oh, Shelley's here. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Shelley, this is Ben Fuchs. I've been telling you about him. He's absolutely amazing, wealth of knowledge. And Ben, my girlfriend's been having some incredible challenges. So I just really wanted you guys to have a chat.
Hi, Shelley. Tell me what's going on.
So my issue started probably about 5 years ago with a pregnancy, and I got cholestatis. I ended up having a miscarriage. I've had 3 miscarriages, and I've got 1 live child. So I've had 4 pregnancies all up. After my last pregnancy, during my pregnancy, I suffered from severe hyperemesis gravidum. I can't pronounce it properly.
Shelley, I'm having a little bit of a hard time hearing you. Did you say cholecystitis?
Yes, I got diagnosed with that during one of my pregnancies, but they wanted
Okay,
to
and
take
then
my
you had
gallbladder out.
heartburn, and then also heartburn or reflux, right?
Yeah, I've got reflux. I've been diagnosed with reflux
Okay.
too.
Okay, what's the
I've
other
got
thing?
these issues with my gallbladder. It
Yeah.
gets sludgy. I'd never have any stones. The doctors they say they want to take it out, but then they don't want to take it out because it has
You
no
don't want to
stones.
take it out. You do not want to take out your
Yeah.
gallbladder.
So I'm suffering.
So cholecystitis and gallbladder issues. Cholecystitis, by the way, is inflammation of the gallbladder. Cholecystitis, heartburn or reflux issues, gallbladder, sludgy bile. These are all issues with food.
Okay.
And chances are you sound young to me. Are you in your 30s?
Yeah, 35.
Okay, so Shelley, maybe you can, I don't know if you remember this, but when you were a kid, did you have digestive issues, bloating, gas,
No.
constipation?
No.
Nothing?
No, it's been triggered from pregnancy, really.
Pregnancy, okay. Okay, that's not totally unusual because during pregnancy, your body makes a lot of estrogen.
Yep.
You know that, right? So when you have these surges in estrogen, this can put a duress on the bile system because it's bile and the intestine that clears out estrogen.
Okay.
So you may have done something, the elevations in estrogen may have done something to the gallbladder, but that's neither here nor there. At this point, you got to work on your digestive health.
Yep.
Get on the healthy digestion pack.
Yep.
Focus on I-26. Do a food diary.
Yep.
And after you eat, connect them up with symptoms
Okay.
like gallbladder symptoms, pain in the gallbladder, pain in the reflux, anything, and then start to eliminate foods.
Okay.
And then make sure you're using the Nightly Essence probiotics as well as the I-26 and the Ultimate Enzymes.
Okay.
I would be using apple cider vinegar or something acidic
Yep.
with all of your meals. And then we have in the Ultimate Enzymes, which you'll get from Longevity, there is bile, but you may want to get some extra bile salts to support the bile system and to help liquefy the bile. Also, lecithin granules or something called phospholipids, which you can pretty much buy anywhere. That can also help you with your bile. The problem is in the bile probably to start and the intestine. And that's what's accounting for the reflux, but these are all easy fixes.
Yeah.
Don't let them take your gallbladder out.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did that help you?
Yes, it did. Yes.
Oh, awesome. See,
Thank
there's
you.
no need to be shy here. We're all friends.
Thank you, Bron.
You're welcome. God bless you.
Thank you. Have a
All
good day.
right.
You
Thank
too.
you, everybody.
Now we have Harry.
Oh, well.
Harry has a question. It's in the chat. What should a lady take to have healthy twins? She's aged 24 and a half, 5 foot inches weight. He doesn't know. Twins 4 months old, incumbent at present. So they're
Incubating.
Make sure she's using
all right.
the
I'm trying to read this little writing.
Ultimate EFAs. I would throw in some fish oil as well for the baby's brain. Protein, lots and lots of protein, collagen peptides, TMR, bone broth protein, and then the Healthy Start Pack in general, but specifically iodine and zinc are two very, very important minerals for the development for fetal development. But everything, you'll get everything else in the Healthy Start Pack. But I would be making sure I'd be doing iodine and zinc, fish oil, the ultimate EFAs, the Healthy Start Pack has that. And then also work on digestive health. Toxicity that's coming into the blood from a leaky gut will make her pregnancy much worse. And if she has a healthy intestine, her breast milk will be healthier too. If she doesn't have a healthy intestine in terms of the microbiome, that is the bacteria, her breast milk will not be healthy and the babies won't be healthy. So making sure that you're working on digestive health, intestinal health, specifically using good bacteria is important to keep toxicity out of the blood, as well as to make sure your breast milk is good.
Thanks, Ben. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Harry. Good to see you, Magna.
See ya.
Look at this wonderful
Hello,
lady.
Magna.
Hi,
She's a young
Magna.
longevity
Good to see
girl.
you. 90 years young?
Yeah. Good over.
Good deal. Nice to see you. My mom's 90 tall, also 90.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
All right.
I
Thank you.
think that is all the questions we have today. Does anyone else have a question that I've missed?
You can do it. We'll be back next week or 2 weeks. What is 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's September something.
September 9th, I think. Oh my God.
Oh, probably.
Crazy, crazy, crazy.
My calendar's not on September yet, so oh well, thank you, Ben, for another.
Thank you, and thank you everybody, and Bronie and Karen. I didn't see Kevin around, but
yeah, Kevin's there.
Kevin.
He keeps popping in and out.
Okay, gotcha.
He's got his 90
right.
like up.
Nice to meet your daughter there, Diane. Thanks for bringing her in, and Harry and everybody.
Thank
See
you
next
so
week.
much.
Pharmacist Ben.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you. Bye,
Yeah,
everybody.
thanks,
Love
Ben.
you guys.
Great
Don't
talk
away yet.
again.
My
Great talk as per
Thanks so
normal.
much.
well, there's
Bye.
Kevin. My husband is 70.
Love you,
He's
love you.
gone. Well, there you go. All right. Well, thank you everyone for coming. And as I say here in the Bronie's order, I ask you all nicely to stay safe, stay informed, be empowered, but do not live in fear, my friends. And when you're giving your body what it needs, it will respond and be good. And then you too will. Brilliant. God bless you all. Catch you again tomorrow here in Bronie's World. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Bonnie.